arts and humanities subjects for science students and vice versa. This is the meaning of our today's topic, which is an extremely pertinent topic on decompartmentalization of subjects, which also happens to mean that our parents, is there too much choice? Are parents confused? We shall look at it today during the course of our deliberation. A very good afternoon to one and all. And I'm delighted to welcome you all on this new episode of Futuristic Education. These are a web series dedicated to the future of education. An Edudevs initiative in collaboration with Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham University to enlighten and empower the education community in the latest trends in education sector. A web series where we invite the edu leaders to voice their views and deliberate upon the various facets, not only of national education policy, but what the future of education is going to hold for us. Hello, everyone. I'm your host and moderator for today, Devyani Kapoor. And without much ado, let me quickly introduce you to the esteemed panel of today. Today we have Ms. Shruti N, career counselor from Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham University, Amrita Puri campus. Welcome, Ms. Shruti. Let us now welcome Ms. Rupa Gosai, who is the principal of RPS International School, Karnal. Welcome you, ma'am. We also have with us Ms. Raman Preet, principal, RPS School, RPS Public School, Daruhera. We welcome you, Ms. Raman. Continuing with our tradition to create in our recent webinars, we have with us today a special youth panel. Yes, I mean the students. It is because of them all these deliberations, all these policy changes are taking place. We have with us, oh my God, Miss Samaira, very young, class 8, RPS International School, Karnal. Another class 8 student, Miss Rohini, RPS International School, Karnal. As they say, catch them young. Welcome, Samaira. Welcome, Rohini. Let's put our hands together to welcome these wonderful, dynamic girls. We have with us Miss Ruchi Sharma, class 11th Humanities, second prize winner, declamation at district level Bal Mahotsav 2022-23, RPS Public School, Daruhera. Excellent, Ruchi. Wonderful. Welcome you. We have with us Ayushi Sharma, again a student of RPS Public School, Daruhera, who is a class 11th commerce student. She also happens to be the class monitor. I welcome you all I welcome this dynamic youth panel of today to today's webinar. You see, we have created a very strange world around ourselves with the kind of approach we had to education. A world, of false prestige, real disappointments. I'm a science student. Humanities is for those who cannot qualify to be in arts, in science or commerce. Those privileged enough sometimes attain a quality higher education, have prestige oozing out of their bodies. Yet the world is more unequal today than ever. But this is the right time when we must take the right action. As I mentioned in the beginning, there is a severe compartmentalization of education, which is affecting our daily lives. Yet It seems as though we have turned a blind eye to it, but thankfully, National Education Policy, which is a landmark document, proposed to revamp the Indian education system and hence removed all boundaries and compartments that restrict the students to choose only one specific subject rather than choosing anything that is of interest to them from a plethora of subjects being offered. As Ms. Ramanpreet rightly said in my conversation, that we are a little skeptical. The students are not. They are putting their best foot forward. Now, coming to our introductory round, which is an ice-breaking question. The same question would be addressed to all in the order of the introduction that we conducted. You all have just 2 minutes. Don't spill all your beans in this introductory round. There is a lot that is going to happen during the webinar. So my question, ice-breaking question, which will be first addressed to Ms. Shruti, then Ms. Rupa, and then Ms. Raman. Well, what do you understand by national education policies, this move regarding integration of vocational and academic streams in school, and also providing this multidisciplinary approach? How acceptable would that be to students, and how difficult it would be for the academic coordinators to create that kind of a structure which will cater to the differential needs of the students? Yes, Ms. Shruti.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So, first of all, good evening to everybody. So, taking to the question, I would like to share my opinion is like, see, what we understand by the new education policy is like, as you all know that this is the 21st century education going on. So, in this NEP, National Education Policy, this is our first education policy which has come. So here, what we are aiming is to revamp the quality of our education structure. Now, currently, what is happening is there is a curriculum given. The students are trying to mug up that. The teacher is taught with that curriculum. The students are mug upping, and it's an exam-centric mode which is going on. So we want to revamp that. We want to come up with the. We want to change the quality. We should have a quality in our education. That is what we are going to build up with this. So the main aim is to bring a vast change in our education, Indian education system, from the school level to our college level. And this is the purpose why the new education, the new education policy has been introduced. Now, like vocational programs, as we said, the integration of the vocational programs. See, the national education policy have really suggested the integration of vocational education and the academic stream. Here what is happening is like currently there is actually a gap between the academic and the vocational stream. So the curriculum whatever is provided is only for learning that particular subject. When we are offering the vocational courses, what happened, this helps to develop the skills in the students more practically. Now the practical mode is very less, it's only academic. So coming with the vocational courses, it will help the student to reach or to understand the way of their or the pattern of their education more practically, and which is very important for them. Why? Because today we need the student to increase their skills than when we go for a job. Like when a student goes for a job, what they need, what the company or industry need is not only the scores what they have gained in the certificate, or not that from which university you are coming. It is the skill which all you have, what skill the student is having. So that's why there is a change in this new that's why the new policy, what it means is so that a student can learn practically, make more quality in their education level. So that is what I want to share is. So that's why this is very important.
Great. Thank you so much, Shruti. Yes, the whole idea is to somewhere our students were devoid of, they were academically very bright, but the skill they were devoid of the industry specific skills. And I'm sure the higher education is really going to benefit specifically with this kind of an arrangement. Let me now turn to Miss Rupa and let's see what she has to talk about and share her insights from a school's perspective. That yes, Miss Rupa.
Yeah, Devyani, I think the key word in the NEP, like the question that you asked, is integration. NEP is talking about a movement, actually, a movement from a very heterogeneous kind of a situation where all the subjects are airtight compartments. There is no fluidity, and it's looking at a homogeneous whole. And that is where subject integration comes into play from the school perspective point of view. So what are we looking at when we talk about subject integration? We are looking at and trying to reach out to the children that subjects are not compartmentalized. Subjects are overlapping. One is born out of another, and sometimes they are parallel. So what is happening is that we are actually now, through this subject integrated learning, once we put it full-fledged into the system, we are talking about transforming the student and crafting the student into a homogeneous whole where he sees the whole world of knowledge as one. And that world of knowledge is not in specific compartments. It's rich, it's dynamic, it is whole, and it is flowing. And that is how we live our life as well. So we do not have, so what, you see, our daily life where we get up, we eat, we breathe, we walk, we talk, we dance, that becomes a kind of a metaphor for subject integration, or vice versa, I would say.
Great.
So also, and when we talk about integration, then again, we are talking about what is the final outcome of this education that we are giving. The final outcome is an integrated whole. So if we look at it from two perspectives, we have living a metaphorically integrated life. So integrated subjects, understanding the whole concept, your understanding vis-a-vis the cosmic different areas of it, they're all integrated. That understanding at all times, I think it's a must, and I think it's a wonderful initiative that NEP has taken. And during my school days, I always felt that, we always felt some kind of a lack. Very good in English and history, not good in science. Can't understand that the word friction, which is used in the science class, is also a word in English, and how it is similar. And from it is born so many other concepts, which I understood only later. So even the integrated final outcome, what are we looking at? We are looking at physically, academically, socially, psychologically, spiritually integrated human being. And then the major focus, the children, once they do an integrated learning, would be where I am in the context of life. If I am standing here, how is this table made? How is this glass made? Where does the light come from? And maybe to understand exactly my direct environment first. So it's not something that I read in the history class or in the science class. It is all integrated. So this is from heterogeneity to homogeneity.
Great. I mean, excellent insights. And you very rightly said that subjects sometimes are compartmentalized, but knowledge is not. So now we need to, craft students in a holistic manner where they understand that, it's not about subjects, it's about creating holistic, that where I am in, as you very rightly said, where I stand, where I am in this whole cosmic arrangement. I think, when you look at even how important this has become is when you look at somebody, the chaiwala on the street, you see that they are using induction plate, and he's also using some kind of an internet to, deliver his whatever he's creating. So, I feel that frontiers of knowledge has been pushed. And
Yes.
they should not be limited and compartmentalized to subjects. So, the words like microwave, induction, which used to be very restricted to the physics class or to the science stream, now they have become, internet is something nobody is taught anyone, but everybody is hands-on it. So yes, this is where we require that integration of subjects and a multidisciplinary. Very well said, Ms. Rupa Gosai. Let us now hear what Ms. Ramanpreet has to offer. Bring some different perspective, ma'am, because we really liked it very differently
I think
projected by them.
both the speakers have quite well covered whatever I wanted to say. But you know what? Majority of the first world nations are already working on this concept of vocational education being introduced into early years of education. And it definitely, when we become adults, we are there, when we live, we actually know that somewhere I'm an engineer because I have to fix my day-to-day articles or whatever I use. I need to be sensitive to environment because yes, it is the prime concern. Then I should have respect for other countries. So I really believe when we grow as an adult, we are actually experiencing every bit, every subject. It becomes very important for us when we're teaching our own children. I cannot say that, I was poor at SST, so I really don't know how well it will go with. So we need to be uh, very clear that the options which we give to our children little later, many of the graduates, what I would say, the engineers, they go for IIM or they go for civil services. Later on, also we give them that freedom to choose the subjects they want. And if we give it little early, and if we introduce the vocational part into it, it would be more of holistic education. A child, if we the child right now is sitting in the school and learning all about the subjects theoretically. But if we introduce that vocational part into it, there would be more of physical activity involved into it. And he or she would be learning a skill which would be helpful to them a little later. Like COVID made all of us very, very, what I would say, sensitive about it, that all of us should be very, very tech savvy, that we should know how to operate a mobile, a computer, because everything went online all of a sudden. So if this education, like already CBS introducing artificial intelligence and many of the skill-based computer courses, they are offering those courses. They are really, really, really helping our children to do well later in their lives. Then education needs to be holistic, which means that all the skills, which includes the social, emotional skills, the physical skills, everything has to be balanced in a right way if we are looking forward for a 21st century human being. That is there.
Greatly encapsulated and summed up the entire, conversation, that we started from, that it is important to enhance the students' skills by integrating vocational, sub-vocational training, to where Ms. Rupa Vasai spoke about that subjects could be, but knowledge has to seamlessly flow across the subjects. And finally, where Ms. Ramanpreet, concluded that it has to be hands-on and experiential. And when we are talking about creating holistic beings who understand, and so let us thank you so much, our panelists. Moving on, now we come to a one-on-one discussion with our panelists, and here you get about 3 to 4 minutes to put your point of view across. To again, Ms. Rupa Vasai, we see that it's very good. We are very happy talking about, students are very happy, okay, a physics with accountancy or a physics with music. But how much relevance it is going to have when they are making career choices? And I would like to Also then, because Ms. Shruti being a career counselor, I would like to, then move on to her, that it looks very fancy, it looks very good, it gives students very good choice, it gives them a chance to integrate their passion with their academics. But how relevant it would be for them while they are making future choices? Wouldn't that be confusing? What, why then is this compartmentalization of subject flawed as a policy matter? The compartmentalization. We were doing very well. So yes, Ms. Rupa, can you please throw some light on this?
Yeah, sure. Whatever I have thought is what I will share with you. Because I think that the answer lies in what is being bestowed by nature. That is something we are overlooking when we are talking, having these long discussions. And what is bestowed by nature is something which is inclination, natural leanings. That is one. So why, basically, I'm going to try to answer why subjects should not be compartmentalized, right? Because of the basic leaning and basic nature. And every person, all of us, human nature by its very, things, it wants to exercise choice, right? So if we give our children the right to exercise choice, what is their leanings, what are their preferences, then whatever they take, pedagogy in the classroom will become easier because they have exercised the choice of where they want to be, and a natural leaning is also there. Some of us, many of us, at least in my era, I would say, that we were stuck with certain choices and they were not really choices. So that is something that needs to be done away with, and which NEP is trying very hard. So the stress that has come in now in the 21st century, before the NEP has been put forth, is also come out because of that lack of choice. We see parents, we see educators all running and in a rat race. That rat race will break where the child feels free, has a free spirit to make that choice. That's number one. Secondly, a disparate subject, so-called disparate subject, physics and accountancy, very well it can be very relevant to somebody who wants to become an entrepreneur and he wants to start a factory selling levers. So he starts a factory of his own selling levers, so he requires physics definitely. And also he has to know accountancy to be on top of the charts of his business. So that could very well be a very good combination. And today with Mr. Modi trying to push entrepreneurship, I think there'll be relevance for all, even physics and music, like you said right now. I was just thinking, how would that be relevant? Imagine trying to make a new musical instrument. So you might want to, you might have to have, all the physics physics know-how to make that that instrument, and then you also have music with it. So you're interested in music, you create a musical instrument, so why not? So when these barriers would be broken with new frontiers of thought, if we give the free spirit to the students to choose what they want and what they can. We all know that students at the end of it are really, really creative. And what they can come up with is something maybe you and I also cannot fathom in our discussions. There would be some third thing happening, which we would have never thought. So that is one thing. And another thing is brain mapping. We are aware that we have a left side and the right side of the brain. And left side people are more into mathematics and accounts and things like that. And the right side are more oriented into creativity. But there is also a lot of students have a whole brain where both the hemispheres are working very well together. So that is also, we can, NEP will give that kind of a platform to those students, that they don't have to, just get stuck with a science or a humanities, but they could have a blend of both. Like we have, I think the IB curriculum is doing very well, where they offer higher level and lower level subjects, and you could probably take pick a choice of all the integrated subjects. So I think that is something very well, and I myself have taught IB.
This is very nice. I'm just interrupting you here. This is very nice. IB curriculum, most of the students, and I would say 98% of their students, study with the aspiration to move out of the country.
Yes.
How is it this kind of a choices will then have a kind of a relevance for the students' admission? In what impediments do you think will come when the student admissions will happen? How then the criteria, and I would want to bring in here first, Ms. Shruti, that okay, somebody has chosen a physics with an accountancy and a music, then but the child wants to pursue a pure physics honors. So how will the criteria be designed, and how will then, yes, Ms. Shruti?
Yes. Here, ma'am, actually, like Rupa ma'am said, based on our new policy, like the students, they have the option, like what they can go with political science, student can take with physics, or chemistry can take geography, or like biology can go with economics. So here, this is nothing but the freedom. A student is having the freedom to go with his interest, his or her interest. Like in the education field, we are having to like it's two categories, like talent based and the curriculum based. So a student who is talent based, in the sense, what is happening, talent based education, it requires a lot of time, a lot of dedication to go with it. Like for example, a cricketer. So a cricketer means in the teenage itself, he should have been on the ground, they are playing. So talent based means the student need to work a lot in that dedicatedly. So what is happening here, like many of the students, maybe they are very much interested in music, or like a film industry or editor something, but because of the pressure, they are moving only with their selected curriculum, academic, and the talent programs, whatever is, that is lacking behind. But in such cases, if a student who is taking this physics and music, for in such cases it will be easy for them to move with their academic, and parallelly they can handle their passion, whatever passion they are having in music, that will be easy for them to handle. So there is no stress in their education. So I think, like it is not
Shruti,
forceful.
this is a
Yeah.
very, what you're saying we all know, and what
Yes.
ma'am has said.
Yes.
My question is to how, how will, for example, Rupa ma'am, you tell us that suppose the child has music and the child has accountancy and he has got physics. So number one, how is the child going to balance out these subjects? Wouldn't the school be pushing more for, okay, no, you attend your physics class, that is a tough one. So, that entire, and then the admissions, because how will the admission, they'll be taking the board result as well, some percentage of it along with the CUET. But what will be that ideal scenario so that is what, of course, it is, I accept that they will get to choose, explore their passions, and later life they can do anything. That's fine. But the thing is, the child has chosen, and how will the admissions happen? रूपा मैम, इसके बारे में थोड़ा बताइए. How
Yeah.
will this, yeah, जो
Yes.
प्रॉब्लम है उसको बताइए, और कैसे स्कूल्स अपना कैलेंडर डिजाइन करेंगे, पेरेंट्स को क्या आप बताना चाहती हैं? You just tell us, guide on that.
See, right now we are all in a formative state. So, there is no hard and fast thing that I can tell. But out of theory and out of thought that I've given this thought, where we really need to, apart from the, see, we redesigned NEP. After that, we need to redesign the curriculum in the schools, right? So when we talk about curriculum in the schools, we need to first, the teaching has to go. There are a lot of impediments to this whole thing, what I'm talking about. What are the impediments? Those need to be, sorted out as we go along and we start implementing the NEP. There are a whole lot of obstacles would be there. But one of the first things is that We have to take a realistic picture right now that our teachers are from the same rote learning scenario that we are trying to break, number one. So that is a mindset that the first that is one big impediment where we need to open the barriers of the teachers also, because they're all coming from the same rote learning, which we are trying to not propagate really. And then we have to design a curriculum or the timetables in a manner so the whole sift of thought has to go, where probably in the morning only, when I was just brainstorming with myself, I was thinking that maybe you have mathematics throughout the school at one particular point of time, and we have different levels of mathematics. So a child, like a person like me who's not good at maths, I could go to level flow maths and do that, which is just kind of remember rudimentary and requires for daily life, profit and loss and selling and buying and all of that. While another child of my friend is doing very well in maths, can go at a higher level. So mathematics is there at all levels, and then you have, that is your lesson, your period, what you call, and then you have music lesson, and with music you have different maybe you have music, you have carpentry or skill or vocational, whatever it is. So children choose there depending on their choices. Your timetable is made depending on the kind of inputs you get. So that is how, and every subject is given the same weightage. So you cannot, so there is a break in the mindset of the people. The break in the mindset. You have to
Yes.
change the mindset of people.
Right.
You see?
And also of the schools and managements, it will require a lot of planning. I think the CBSE schools will have to look upon how
Yes.
the IB is running the show. There'll be a lot of guiding,
Yes.
mentoring from there as well. Thank you so much. Moving on, Raman ma'am, you see, now when we look at each subject, it's easy to say physics, accountancy, humanities, but then we do conduct these aptitude tests where the student comes out with a scientific temperament or an interpersonal, and so we used to help students choose their subjects. Now with this kind of mindset and exclusive and picking up varied subjects from across the streams may lead to confusion and lead to a lack of adequate time devoted to each subject. What we were just discussing, that a physics might need a lot of the child's, or maths might need a lot of hours for a child than probably. So what are your views? How will this fit into the child's scheme of things?
Ma'am, you know what it is? Actually, we have to decide that the curriculum is to be designed in a very balanced way. Like CBSE, actually, let me tell you, CBSE has not defined any of the streams anywhere. They have given option to the children that they can go for any of the subjects what they want. So what they have told is that you need to take one language, you have to take 3 main compulsory subjects, and then you have to take the optional subjects. So it is designed this way. Now, the language is designed in a way that a child has to take 3 compulsory subjects. So give, we have to design the curriculum. The curriculum has been designed in such a way that it will not take too much of time of a child. Then we come to the the compulsory subjects, which we call as the main subjects. Now that subjects, they have the curriculum which goes into the depth. So the children devote their time that very way, the way it demands. And then it comes to optional subjects. Now, again, it is designed very, very beautifully. It will not lead to any of the chaos, any of the confusions, because the optional subject will be designed in a way that it takes minimum of your time. It's a 2-year course or a 3-year course. So they design it in a very beautiful way that the child devotes the design, the designated time to whatever subjects it is. And let me tell you, when we were talking about careers, about physics and music coming together, the career dynamics are changing very rapidly. The career choices which were available in last decade, maybe they will not exist in the next decade. They are changing very, very at a very rapid rate. Now we have careers like which we call as sound directors, the light directors, which should have a good knowledge about physics. But yes, because when you are working with the music, the cinema, and then you should know, you should have very strong foundation in physics. But yes, you should have a good taste about music, about cinematography. So all these things are very overlapping. So career choices are getting very they are changing very rapidly, and the mindsets are also changing. The parents really want the children to pursue fashion designing. They really want to go into these kind of
Out
very
of the
different kind of
box.
careers. Yes,
Careers,
out
out.
of the box. Yes, the
Very well
ice
said, ma'am.
has already been broken. We are little worried, but yes, these options will not lead to any of the confusions. The children very well know that they have to balance what subject in what way, and I don't think so it would lead to any of the confusions.
So let us do the litmus paper test. Let's ask now, move on to our student panelists. So maybe let me ask Rohini. Now, Rohini, tell me one thing, that do you think, is there any change uh, in the way you were being taught? Let me take the watershed as COVID. So say in 2016, 17, 18, the way you were being taught and the way you're being taught today, and what is that difference, do you feel?
Okay. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. So my answer is yes, there are a lot of changes between the way we are used to be taught and the way we are being taught today. And before the Corona time, we had subjective learning and did not focus on integrated learning. During Corona period, the students were habitual to use tabs and phones. And at that time, all the learning was dependent on technology. But also, this benefited a lot for students. And during 2020, India promoted its new policy on education, that is NEP 2020 of India, in which the learning was fun and integrated. So RPS International School Karnal is also promoting itself in such areas. After Corona, the school we are having integrated and smart learning, and in our school we are having subject integration lectures, and the school
Okay,
is
okay,
providing.
wait, Rohini. No, I don't want this answer. You're like sounding a brand ambassador of your school. No, the teacher who walks in the class today, वो क्या करती है? ये बताओ. Just leave whatever is written in. Tell me, when the teacher walks in the class today, what happens?
The teachers, like if we are feeling very boring, if the class is feeling very boring, the
Why should the
teachers,
class be boring? Why should the class be boring?
like in history, some students do not like history, they feel sleepy. So at that time, the teachers, to find the class interested, the teachers show smart classes, and we go to labs and they tell us some stories, and we are really feeling interested in that class. So we enjoy so much, and the
Okay, tell
teachers,
me, what was the last project? It's like a rapid fire. What was the last project you did?
we did sound.
Sound. What did you do in that?
First to do introduction, then the history of sound, and like some facts about sound. Our instructor, our teacher, tell us some tricky questions, and we search on it.
Okay, so there is a different kind of. Great. Thank you so much, Rohini. Very good. Very spoke very well. Very good. For you're in class 8th, I believe. Yeah,
Yes.
that's too much of a knowledge. When I was in class 8th, I would be so scared to even speak. And you're speaking so much thanks to technology and thanks to, yes. Okay, now let me, Samira. Is Samira here?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Samira. Samira, you're in class 11th or you're in class 10th?
I'm in class 8th.
Okay, you're also in class 8th. Tell me that you must have thought about what subjects you'll be choosing in class 11. I know it's too early for me to ask, but what do you think would you like? Would you like to go for science? Are you clear? Because in class 8, people do generally start thinking now how would you choose, or what would you choose when you are in class 11?
It's really overwhelming and confusing. It is, we are at a major crossroad after 10th to choose a subjects. During As I'm in class 8, we study different languages, we study different subjects. So uh, when we study them, we get really confused, because today I want to be cardiologist, but tomorrow I want to be a news reporter. So there's a huge difference between them. So the process of choosing the right subjects can be really overwhelming. Uh, we uh, we uh, we we want proper guidance, and we need proper time to think upon this. The subjects have a significance on their own. It's very difficult to choose one. For example, if I want to be a news reporter and another day I want to be cardiologist, so there's a huge difference between it. My brain seesaws when I think upon what I really want to be in my future. Do I want to follow my passion, or do I have to think about how will I manage my life? So it's really difficult. There are different directions in life. Uh, as per in our Indian system, we have two types of systems: CBSE and ICSE. Now they are followed into three systems. They are basically furthered into three, that are commerce, arts, and science. The most popular one is science, then is commerce, and then arts.
See,
Each
wait,
one of them
again,
have
you have
different
actually
subjects.
driven a hierarchy. You have driven a hierarchy by saying most popular is science, then commerce,
Then
then.
is
So
commerce.
we need to kind of, what is it that you would want to choose? Very quickly, we are running out of time. What
I
is it that,
I
one
would
word?
like to choose science. I would like to choose science because right now I want to be a doctor. So
Okay,
I want to
thank you
be,
so
I
much.
will, I
Great.
choose science.
Great. So we have with us Miss Ayushi, and I was told that Ayushi has some queries which she wants to ask the panelists. Yes, Ayushi.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I wanted to ask that if I choose a mixed bag of subjects,
Whom are you
say for
wanting to ask? Me?
no, I wanted to ask you the ADP person, ma'am, Shruti ma'am.
Okay, you wanted to ask Shruti ma'am because she's a career counselor. Right.
Yes.
Great, great. Excellent. Very intelligent that you chose, good utilization of your time. Yes, all yours, Ayushi.
I wanted to ask that if I choose a mixed bag of subjects, say for instance, if I choose chemistry and political science, how do I manage my time? Because both of them require equal amount of time and as well as of effort. So that was my question, ma'am.
Great. So, Ms. Shruti, there is a question for you, and I think the student is very smart. She knew whom to ask.
Yes. Yes, Arushi, your question is that you want to select chemistry as well as, I couldn't hear you properly. So you how to manage
Political
both
science.
chemistry and
Political science.
political science. So how should you manage both?
Yes.
Yes. See, like I said, both are your selected means your passion, your favorite subject. Both you have choose is your favorite subject. First of all, is you can, if you have to follow a particular timetable. First of all, is you should go with the proper timetable. Then second thing is like what is your aim actually? What are you looking for your future? What you want to become? Is there will be something no related to the subject, you will be having some dream. Yes, what is that?
Actually, chemistry and political science, I find both of the subjects really intriguing, but I could not find some the common path where I could choose both. So that is why I went with a whole another thing.
You know why I'm asking is nothing like common in this. So what is your plan? What are you planning to become in future after your 12th? So what are you planning to go with?
So, ma'am, I aspire to be a financial manager. Like talking of
Okay.
now, that is why I went on with commerce. But if I had I had a choice, I would have definitely chosen political science.
Okay. So this is what, first of all, you can manage your timetable. You can go according to that. And based on your selection, you can focus it parallelly. Why? Because both are your interest. So see, first of all, if you're interested in a subject, it is very easy for you to handle it. You are not pressurized with someone. So based on the interest, you can move along with the subject. Suppose if your passion is you want to go with IAS or IPS something. So this will really help you out. Why? Because all these subjects will cover in that career path. So you will be having a multiple choice in your future career route. So this is how it will help you out. So it will be really easy for it depends upon the way you manage each student. So before selecting, for there is one more thing that you should try to understand your capacity, the ability you have, and really, if it is your favorable subject, you will really succeed with that.
Thank
So
you
that
very much,
means,
ma'am.
Shruti, sorry,
Yes.
are you satisfied with Shruti ma'am's answer? Because I think she's right bang on that your
She is right.
choice has to be
I
very
agree.
careful.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Actually, may I say something?
Well, yes, please.
Yeah, I know. But this, this is what is intriguing me. We are talking about subject integration, where we are actually looking at subjects like this, right? And we are thinking of them as separate. As long as the mindset is going to be that the subjects are separate, there is no overlapping, we are not really going to go anywhere. And also, that I think in our Indian psyche mindset, there is too much of emphasis on what are you planning to do. The school time should could be ideally, I think, a time of exploration, so that you see a child of 14 and 15, what does he know what he wants to do unless he's free to explore this and explore that and take up this and take up that. And
Absolutely.
then you see, then only maybe we are adults at this particular point of time. If in a private conversation I ask you what would you have become, maybe there are answers which are different. So the
Which
point is,
definitely would be. Which
yes,
definitely would be.
right. So what
Very
I
right.
want
So
is,
this answer, we'll continue with this and we'll come back to you for this because this is very what you're see, the discussion that we are happening doing here is gearing towards our understanding of how the schools are going to function and accommodate this and how to break the preconditioned mindsets, which you very well spoke about that why are we are talking about integration, we are talking about multidisciplinary, but we're still with that preconditioned mindset. So first thing is we'll have to unlearn, relearn ourselves and revamp not just the system but revamp our own mind, mental hard disks. That's what is required. So very quickly, I think then we'll come back. Raman ma'am, you
Yes,
see that we are talking about this, uh, and you did speak about how beautifully the curriculum is coming up, but we would now would like you to throw further light on this, that for this successful implementing this multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach, the schools will have to run a very, very fluid timetable. And, then that means it will require as many faculties, and even with the negligible number of, even if the students in grade 11 and 12 are less, but if we are talking about giving that kind of flexibility, and as Rupa ma'am was saying, giving them the right to choose. अगर हम वो right to choose कर रहे हैं, हमारे पास उतना number नहीं है, practically this is a major problem in schools. The shortage of the staff which they are facing is a very big problem that the schools are facing. With less subjects, most of the time, this is an issue. Now, with giving the students that choices, that I want to have fashion designing or probably, data analysis or something like that, how are the schools going to function? Can you just suggest some 2 3 simple tips or guidelines to so many educators and coordinators who must be hearing this conversation?
Ma'am, the first step is always the hardest one. It won't be very, very easy to actually implement this education policy. But what I really believe is if we look into our pool talent for the existing staff members, whatever we are having, they must have studied those subjects as one of the optional subjects in their graduation or in masters. So we have to allow our staff members to upgrade themselves. We have to rather invest into the training of our existing staff members. We have to allow them some, certain time leave on certain time periods so that they upgrade themselves with those subjects. That is very, very important. And if the schools hire more number of staff members, it would be really not a burden on them, because the school which will be offering more and more subject choices to the children they'll get more number of students, and ultimately it will pay them in a longer run. It would be an investment in the beginning, but in the long run it would be very beneficial for the students, for the school, and for the society. So it
So
would
that
be
is
very,
like,
very.
that is one option that, as you said, that is a very traditional thing that, okay, the more subjects they'll provide as options, eventually the schools will have more of, footfall or admissions in grade 10 and 11 and all. But how about creating a very, very innovative and collaborative scenario where we could have floating faculties? So the
Again,
options are there. Just a
The
moment.
floating
The
faculties,
floating faculties, the option are there. Ma'am, the schools can pool in their faculty resources so the liquidation of war boundaries that we are talking about, liquidating boundaries in subjects, we can also liquidate those boundaries between the schools, and they could have a common pool of resources where the school could have those subjects, but the faculties. Now, I don't know how
it will be
practical
too
that
early.
could be. Yeah,
Yes,
yes,
it
ma'am. Tell
will
me.
be too early to comment on this, because the CBSE guidelines do not allow us to hire part-time faculties,
So that
because
is what the problem is. Ma'am, यही तो problem है. We are
we
very
have to go for the evaluation of the skill also, what we have taught to the child. And when the evaluation comes, when that exam timetable comes, when we have to evaluate the children for the practical component, for the theoretical component, then
ma'am,
that
no,
part
ma'am,
comes.
you're deviating. What I want to say is, why are we are talking, we were just discussing with the students to break the conditioning, preconditioned mindsets. We need to create this. ये जो scenario है, ये mechanism कहाँ से आएगा जब तक हम इस पे deliberate नहीं करेंगे. हमें, we will have to pull in the resources. We will have to trumpet that, what the CBSE guidelines do say it, but then this will be the demand. It is the NEP which is going to push CBSE to tweak their guidelines. Ma'am, just a moment. Rupa ma'am has to say something. Rupa ma'am,
because what you just said, and I was just thinking when you said that hub learning, that can be one of the places where all these resources can come together. And we are already talking about breaking mindsets. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be 1 year and 2 years, maybe 5 years or 10 years. But slowly that change will come where there's a collaborative community learning happening rather than only, isolated this thing. And of course, policies will have to be drafted and all of that will have to happen as far as CBSE is also concerned. And NEP being national definitely will be pushing the boundaries of CBSE further.
Actually, now we are in an education which is, because the very fact that we are talking about alternatives, we are talking about options. On the other side, we have so much of technology integration. CBSE and NEP has introduced the artificial intelligence, machine learning. So we are here talking about classrooms. We are here talking about how the student will, providing the options. But there will be a time when the student could be provided a virtual class by any of the faculties who are anywhere in the world. So this is what is, I think schools will have to work on: the virtual classrooms, the cloud spaces, using the blockchain technology to integrate as much as possible. Great discussions. It's always good when we deliberate and we kind of, okay, Shruti, I have a question for you. A professor in the education department, and I have a quote here in front of me, said that the choice of subjects is not going to be a problem, as we have just discussed, and that there should be flexibility. But how the curriculum is designed going to be an issue on that. And ultimately, all the spillover will come on the how the admissions will happen. So
Yes.
could you just throw some light on this, your perspective completely? Yes, Shruti, am I audible?
Unmute. I think Shruti needs to unmute.
Yes, I am. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. As per my perspective, what I have noticed is currently the curriculum, there are no updations happening. There are no updations happening. There should be an updation. If every academic year we are trying to revise the curriculum, so based on that, we can change the pattern of the teaching, and which can include more experimental ways also to the student. So based on that updation, it will be easy for the teachers to train, and as well as based on that awareness, we can update to the students. So here the curriculum needs to be revised every time. Earlier, we can find, ma'am, am I getting?
Yeah, if you could just elaborate a little more on this.
Yes. So, like ma'am, earlier and all, we can see they are the curriculums are not revised. The same thing is repeatedly happening all the time. So there should be some some improvement, some revision on the curriculum to the students, and coming out with the experimental or what we say practical way. The teachers should be made more comfortable in the classrooms. By making them more comfortable, this will comfortable in the sense changing the quality of the teacher by making the classrooms more digital or giving more comfort. So that will really help the students also, because currently the students are very stressful. They are not aware why, because the teachers are like, it is very mandatory that whatever the curriculum is, they have to follow that. So when we revise the curriculum, it will really affect the students also. So there should be a revision pattern. We should change the quality of this teaching style, coming out with the practical sessions and all, more of practical sessions, vocabulary program, vocabulary courses and all. This will really help the student to understand in a practical way other than mug-upping the answers. We should change that exam-centric mode. Currently, it is happening is all exam-centric mode is going on. So
right. There is so much of emphasis on assessment, tests.
Yes.
Now, we had enough tests that we designed another test. Now we will be preparing our students. We are talking about all this, but ultimately we introduced another test, CUET, another rigorous training to the students. Now again they'll be going to classes. So ये जो test psyche है, that has to be modified. The curriculum, and as I said, that NEP has introduced machine learning and artificial intelligence. A lot of learning will happen in metaverse. A lot of that was the time when students will get their real choice, real flexibility, when to study, what to study, from whom to study, how much to study. These will be the questions for the future of education. Shruti, we have Ruchi, who has a question for you.
Yes.
Ruchi?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Ruchi. How are you?
Ma'am, great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining this discussion. How are you liking this discussion? Are you able to understand what we are all discussing? Do you think
Yes,
like
yes, ma'am, of course. And this is such a great place to, actually discuss things. Like reaching solutions is a very important thing, but discussing about how we will reach those solutions and why do we need to reach those solutions is also a very important part of the process. So I'm really happy and
excellent?
really wanted
I'm
to be a
sure
part
your
of it.
principal, ma'am, your philosophy flows down from her. The head of the institution, there is a lot of reflection on how the children speak, what they think. And you're completely reflective of what your principal just spoke. I mean, and you just spoke straight from the heart, that it is important that we need to create a lot of discussion, come out with different alternatives. We may not reach the solution, but we need to. Yes, Siddhi. Sorry, yes, yes, Ruchi. Please ask your question.
Ma'am, so my question would be that would the same flexibility be provided in colleges, regarding choosing varied subjects, or would it be limited to just, in schools in class 11th and 12th? Because if you're talking about the pursuit of knowledge, then people would want to, keep that bunch of subjects maybe for further education as well. Like you guys mentioned, that is one of the reasons why the Ivy League colleges are so famous, because they provide that opportunity to have varied subjects even during college years. So how would that work?
Yes, Ruchi, your question is during the colleges, how it is going to work.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it? Yes. See, if you're talking, is it like if you're talking about based on the new education policy, or you're the current way you're asking about the current education?
No, ma'am, on the basis of the new education policy.
Okay, the basis of our 21st century skill, the new education policy. See, here, like from our 6th grade till the 12th grade, we are having the vocational courses and the training, everything is there. So at the time of college is a degree. At the time of college, it will really automatically it will reflect. It will helpful at the college level. But comparatively now we are not having that. But in the new education policy, from the 6th grade to the 12th grade, there are all these vocational courses or our skills or everything. They are trying to cover it up. We are getting integrated with all these things. We are getting certified with this. Students are getting certified with this. So after at the college level, it will be very easier for the students to cope up with whatever their career is. Are you getting? Am I confusing you?
No, ma'am, yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that is what I want to tell about this pattern. So
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
yeah.
So we have, for a minute, we have an open house. Anybody who would like to speak about or ask the panelists any question? And here we have a question earlier. We haven't. Okay, yeah. So this is not this is a webinar. It is not a course. Somebody has posted, we haven't found the certificates for this particular webinar. We do not, it's only to the panelists for felicitation. In the master classes, we do provide the certificates. Anybody in the audience who wants to say something or ask any question to our panelists today is free to ask. We have no hands up at the moment.
Yeah. Anjali, I just wanted to just share with you what we are actually doing at RPS Karnal. We are doing in the zero lesson, we are having this integrated subject learning, and the students go at least twice a week there. So maybe you could ask Samara or Rohini to throw some light and tell you how to do it.
Great, we shall. Actually, we are running short of time. And if very briefly, Samara, if you could very, very briefly, or Rohini, you could speak about, so you will have only about a minute and a half to speak about it, which is a very, very great idea. If there is training them, I mean, this is excellent that you're already started training your students in this approach. Yes, anyone who would do, Rohini or Samara?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, please, but very briefly.
Yeah. So, ma'am, in a week we have a research period. We all get very excited to study something in a holistic manner. We jump with excitement whenever it's a subject integration period. We go with our instructor or the teacher, whoever is with us. He gives us a topic. For example, our today's the topic is aurora borealis. So he gives us some trigger questions. For example, how is it affecting our planet, or which is the biggest aurora borealis, or are there any other aurora borealis or on any other planet? So we keep researching on it, and at the end of the class we negotiate, we interrogate, we keep our points in front of everyone. We not only learn how to research, but we also learn how to keep our points in front of everyone. We get to know what other person is thinking about that topic, and we
Excellent.
also write research papers as I told you about aurora borealis. So we write a
Yeah,
research paper on it.
thank
We
you so much,
segregate it
Samara.
into
That means that's the journey to skill development has already started at RPS International School, Karnal, where the students are honed in, research skills and critical thinking skills and problem solving techniques. Collaboratively they are working, and that's a great initiative which has been taken. So moving on to the end, we discussed a lot on, subject integration, multidisciplinary approach that we know may not be able to, in spite of all the policy mandates that are coming in. It wouldn't be like a drop of a guillotine and it'll start. No, it will require conditioning, reconditioning our minds to get off from this compartmentalized subject or hierarchical approach to subjects, to and create a lateral thinking approach amongst the various domains of knowledge. That's what we intend to, and we need to start, as RPS school is doing. We need to start our children exploring and experiencing this kind of curriculum right in the beginning. Second, we discussed we need to find some practical solutions to this. We need to collaboratively hire probably the faculty or work in a way where with less resources we can achieve more. We need to start small. We have the platform already set. It's a beautiful initiative. It's a beautiful thought that the policy has given, but we need to create working viable, working modules around it, which can be implemented. And now coming to the end, I would just like each one of our panelists to say about 2 or 3 sentences, not more than that, as their, resting statements to today's discussion. So we first start with Rupa Gosaina. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I think it's a very good, it's thought provoking. And of course, like you mentioned, it's not at the end. We are like the caterpillar, just about starting to be a butterfly. It's going to take time. But I do feel that anything that is once dreamt about can happen. So I think with the, baby steps, we can make a difference. One of the ideas I would like to again share, see teachers coming from rote learning. We have a subject integration. Now everyone is actually stuck in their own cosmoses. So you have maybe sometimes once in a while you have 5 teachers getting in there and teaching that particular light, like for example. So everybody gives their own idea about light. So over a period of time, the teachers will get trained into thinking beyond their own tight compartmentalization and realize that there's a world outside there. And that will finally trickle to students who will be able to actually see the integrated homogeneous whole. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this final, statement to us. Ramanpreet, ma'am, what would your statement be?
It would be a revolution, as most of us know that we are coming up very strongly if we talk about the economy of our country. And yes, if this new education policy comes into reinforcement as soon as possible, we would be standing at par with the first world nations as far as education would be concerned. And being a science graduate, I was very fond of music, so I never got a chance to go ahead with music because I had to take one path. And maybe it will not happen with the generations coming ahead. They'll have the subjects they want, plus they will follow their passions too.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. Finally, Ms. Shruti, what would your final statement be here?
Yes, ma'am. Like in today's session, as we said in the very earlier, like the students are really very smart. They are very free to come and they are so cool and attending the session. We are the ones which are very worried how to make them understand or why, because they are so brilliant. They know, they know everything and they are testing us. So that this is the situation. So what I want to tell is like, see, the teacher should be always there for them. Why? Because the students, they are most of the time, like we know this pandemic situation, we could understand that change in the students sitting all the time they were at home, how much it affected them. So most of the time the students are with the teachers. So there should be, the teacher should be always there for them. They are very effective component to the students. So there should be, we should, first of all, we should train the teachers, we should change the quality of the teachers, we should bring, make them comfortable. So automatically everything relies upon it. And the next thing is, as we said, Rupa ma'am, everything we were sharing, like about their passion, multiple streams, everything, whatever it is, everything is applicable. But the main issue is lack of time. Now also the students are already overburdened. They are very much interested to move with many of the things. Even we are planning for many changes, but everything affect is the lack of time. So we should first of all make a plan according to that. Time is a very important for the students. So my suggestion is a proper timetable. When we are like revising the curriculum or the school should really prepare such a timetable where everything covers. Like in the new educational policy, there is a yearly 10 days they will be having bagless classes for vocational courses. Same way, they should have something, we should plan something so that the students can move, get trained with their passion or extra stream, whatever they are selecting.
Great. Thank you so much, and wonderfully encapsulated that what is the need of the hour, Shruti. We had some great deliberations, as our young panelists mentioned, that it's not that we are going to reach the solution right away, but we started pondering over, we started deliberating. And in the end, I would just like to say that सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, सारी कोशिश है कि ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए. So at least we have started making the buzz around it, and how this multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach in the new curriculum will be addressed, hoping that it will not overburden the students. It will give them free will, free choice, and meaningfully let them explore their options. Please don't go away till we play another AV by the Edudevs team. Thank you so much, each panelist. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham University and Edudevs, we are grateful to all our young our panelists and our esteemed principals, our guests from AVV, to spare this time and deliberate on this very, very pertinent issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you for having us over. I think we all enjoyed a lot.
Thank you so much for you. Thank you. Yes, team Edudevs, can you please very quickly be ready with your AVV? AV. I think there is some gap. We close our today's episode here. And thank you, young students. Keep thinking, keep questioning. Do not accept the set mindsets. Never be scared of controversies, but always be curious and always question. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ramandeep, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing the panel today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was a pleasure.